Well, hello again. This is Jane B. Lee, and this is Jane's Adventures in Storyland. So, how are you darlings doing today? Y'all being safe? Getting space between one another? Reading a good book? That'd be great. Um, what I'm going to talk about today a little bit again, it's last time we were talking about facts versus fantasy. And I mentioned in there about the books that have started off with facts and turned into fantasies and in poetry that can be fantasies or facts. Oh, about 10 years ago, I pulled a bunch of stories together, short stories, poetry, poems, etc., together, and put it in a book. Very limited publications when I did it, but it got out there. And there are two poems I'd like to read for you. I know I said I wasn't going to read stories. I'm not reading a story. I'm reading a poem. I can do that better, I think. I hope. If not, I won't do that again either. So, one of the only poems that of my poems that I've ever been able to memorize is, it goes this way, and it's totally fantasy. And it's called Sleep as a Woman. Sleep is a woman, life's mother, this I know. She sweeps your forehead clean of thoughts and brushes out your soul. Dreams are her daughters who take us to other lands, handmaidens of tomorrow, or foresee the doings of our hands. That's it. So, is that fantasy? Or is there any fact in there? It's up to you. I mean, that's one of those, is it me? Is it you? Or is it somebody else? So that's the fantasy one. Now this one is a poem that I wrote, and it's called Lightning's Dance, and it is actually a factual poem. The only problem is some of the code in here, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then it doesn't make sense. Then it sounds funny. Anyway, Quasimodo was my English bulldog, and Quasi followed me everywhere. And he was a great English bulldog. And I talk about Tina's Blues. This is Ike Tina Turner. This is Tina Turner. This is actually her first solo album, Tina. So I talk about Tina's Blues. And I think that covers the things that are a little bit different. Okay, it's called Lightning's Dance. Before the dawn, one summer's night, the humid air hangs close and tight, and lightning danced on distant clouds. As the storm approached, I wondered aloud. Dancing and flashing across the summer's night, the lightning bears my wrongs, my rights. As Quasimodo and I dance in the dark to Tina's blues and jazz on the dock. There is part of me you built, you made. The holes you left I can't dissuade. The lightning flashes, the thunder claps, the rain begins to fall in drips and drabs. Did you think God made lightning in just one night? Did he make a mistake or just get it right? My ghostly friend, my canine dear, will I find love like yours, unqualified, sincere? Why can't the driving rain wash clean my hopes, my dreams, my soul, my dear? And clean what's wrong from what's right, and leave me clean in the morning light. The storm is gathered, it blows, it jeers. I stand, I dance as in passing years. And in the distance, the light parts the dark. I see you dancing on your own dock. Could it be that you're the one from this jagged journey I've so long ago begun? Let's bridge together in the night, and let lightning spark our soul unite. Now, believe it or not, that is a total factual poem. It's totally factual. It's just came from what I was going through at the time. So that's factual. So again, where do you start drawing the line between factual and fantasy? And how does it affect what we read, what we do, what we think? I'm not sure. I know in my writings, there's always facts. And the facts sometimes are close at hand, things that just happened or sometimes are going to happen and I didn't know it. It's amazing sometimes what life brings to you and what rewards you get and what punishments you receive. I think my writing and my painting is a result of the things that I have done in my life and the things that I haven't done in my life. So they end up becoming stories, becoming poems, actually even becoming plays. So I often wonder what am I doing here? Why do I write? Why do I paint? Why am I driven to write and why am I driven to paint? Why does it drive me? I wish I knew the answer. I wish I knew the answer. Maybe it's loneliness. Maybe it's pain. Maybe it's love. Maybe it's all of the above. Well, that's almost a poem, isn't it? So when I started writing Identity, I said this started off as a short story. It actually started off when I started writing that as a story about what happened one afternoon when I'm visiting my mother. So what happened that one afternoon when I was visiting my mother, and my nieces and nephews were there, and my grandnieces and nephews were there, and my mother was there. She was elderly at that time, and so I wondered. So before she passed away, I had actually finished writing the book. But I didn't do anything with it for the longest time. I just sat on it. And then I got excited about it, reread it, edited it, and got it out. And it finally was published, actually. You can get it anywhere. Identity by Jane B. Lee. It's Barnes & Nobles and if you ask for it. And on Amazon and Kindle, just Amazon and Kindle. So that started off as fact and ended up as fantasy. 55,000 words later, 56,000 words later. It's a short book. It's a novel, qualifies, but it's still short. So that's pretty much what I wanted to do today, was just talk about those few things, about the poems. By the way, you can find these poems on my website. I'll do the website thing again. Okay, the website is Jane's Adventures in Storyland. Again, it's long, but it's www.janesadventuresinstoryland.com. Really easy to remember. So it's not, Identity is not exactly really a well-written book, and I hate the back of it, and I hate the stuff about the author, but it was one of my first books. And I didn't know a lot of this stuff, and I wasn't listening to people who were trying to tell me what to do, which seems to me quite frequently I don't listen to people who try to tell me what to do. Oh well. I want to thank you all for listening again. And I hope you stay safe. Keep your distance from your neighbors. You never know who's infected. And I hope you have a wonderful evening and be safe. Love you all now. Take it easy. Bye now.